everybody, this is Matthew Movies coming at you with my review of Can't Hardly Wait, the 1998 teen movie that I think is pretty freaking fantastic. There are lots of great moments in this that I find very, very entertaining. I think it's a well-written movie. It's very over the top, but very much fits the teen movie genre and like kind of the emotions that you feel as a teen. Everything is very gratuitous and ridiculous and silly, but awesome at the same time. And there is lots of characters that you really become connected to, and you really want to see have great things in their lives. And as the film progresses, there's lots of moments where you're like, oh, awesome, that's great that that's working out. And then lots of moments where you're like, oh, poor guy. I mean, there's so much great stuff in this movie, and so many characters that I think have really stood the test of time, and which is a large portion of the reason why this movie I think still works. And this movie has a great cast. Right off the top, you have Ethan Embry and Jennifer Love Hewitt. They're the two characters that you throughout the film you see as kind of not necessarily star-crossed lovers, but a guy that is just absolutely infatuated with a girl, and a girl that's being just inundated with all these dudes that are all over her, and then all of a sudden there's a guy that actually seems to have real emotions and a real connection and kind of have the emotional complexity that she's been looking for the last several years, and then to see how they come together and the way in which he framed their lives, where he was there on the day that she joined the school and he missed his opportunity with her. I just love the back and forth between the two of them. And it's really entertaining too, because as a watcher, you can kind of look at his character and the clear obsession that he has with her, and you can kind of draw what you want out of it, because there's definitely a real connection there. You see, he seems to really actually care about her and see her as like more than just this beautiful person, but at the same time he's also a little bit creepy, because he's just totally obsessed, and apparently he talks incessantly about her, as you find out from the remarks of his friends, and the way that, and like that whole thing is kind of funny, the idea of this person. If you're looking at it from his perspective, where it's all very innocent and loving and caring, but at the same time you can also kind of look at it from another perspective where it's like, this guy's a little nuts, isn't he? But at the same, I love the kind of back and forth, and all the sequences where you have all these random dudes hitting on her, and like one of them, it turns out to be her cousin, and well, it doesn't turn out, that it's a cousin throughout the beginning, but it turns out that he's hitting on her. All that stuff is just absolutely crazy and hilarious, and it really adds to the tone of this movie and why it works. I think their whole story is great, but I also feel like it's actually kind of a little bit overdone to a certain degree, and the relationship that I actually care about even a little bit more is the one that is played by two characters played by the actors Seth Green and Lauren Ambrose. These two people that you find out were friends as kids, but at the same time have completely grown apart, because Seth Green's character is just obsessed with trying to come off as like the super cool guy, and he's going around bragging the entire time and talking about all the ladies he's gonna bone and all this stuff, and just super crass, but also like just total wankster, and the whole thing with him is hilarious. The way he's putting up this front, and then the two of them get locked in a bathroom together, and over the remaining remainder of the film, those walls start to kind of break down, and the affection that they once had for one another kind of comes back, and I just love the way that their whole story is built, where at the end of the day, these two people who one of them who is all bravado and the other one who's all kind of angst, they have their emotions come to the forefront when they're put into this kind of pressure cooker together, and by the end of the film the affection is back with it. I thought that whole thing was just absolutely great. I really grew to care about their relationship even more so than Ethan Embry's and Jennifer Love Hewitt's personally, even though it is a little bit more in the background. I mean, it's definitely right up there as well, but it's not the one that the film completely focuses on, whereas the Embry and Hewitt one is much more of that. I just think that's great. And then even beyond just the two relationships that are kind of at the core, there's other characters that are introduced that have their own stories too. Like you have a guy who's Mike Bennett, who's basically the jock who was dating Jennifer Love Hewitt's character, and thinks that he's got the world on a string, and he breaks up with her because he's going to be going off to college. He doesn't want to be held back. He wants to be able to have all the fun in the world. But as the film progresses, he starts to really question himself and question the whole idea that his ego, and why he thinks that he is going to be held back by her, but maybe in all reality maybe not. Maybe this was gonna be like the key relationship of his life, and that he threw it away for nothing. And this idea of something better being out there, and realizing that he may not be as cool as he thinks that he is, and as his life progresses, things may not exactly go his way. You have a character that is introduced by Jerry O'Connell, comes in and basically was in his position a few years back, and is now seen as this kind of loser who shows up at these parties because he's trying to relive his glory years. And Mike Bennett starts to realize that maybe that's going to be him in a few. The whole relationship between him and O'Connell is great, and just his whole story arc I think is really fascinating. Where again, I think one of the major things that is so great about this movie is how you have these principal characters who start off in one position, and then as the film progresses, kind of go through these emotional realizations, and break down, and drop the bravado and become actual human beings. I think because you have a lot of teen movies out there where it's all about these kind of over the top characters, and this movie definitely starts off at that point, but progresses far beyond it as the film progresses. And then you have another character that's William, who's the school geek, and everybody feels like everybody looks down on him, and he's got a couple of pals that are with him, and then he has this grand scheme that he's going to go and infiltrate the party in order to try to get revenge on on Mike Bennett, the guy who's been his principal tormentor. And then as his story progresses, he gets accepted, and he realizes that maybe he was holding himself back as well, that he believed that all these other people would not accept him, but if he went and kind of joined them and started having fun too, that they'd be much more interested in partying with him. And as the movie progresses, him and Mike actually become kind of friends, and I think that whole thing was great, and a great ending to both Mike's story and William's story. And like I said before, he's got a couple buddies that are with him. There's basically his sidekicks, and they're there with him. They have this scheme, and they're waiting for him. And then the way that they end up coming together as the movie progresses, I think was a really funny moment when they realize what they've done. I'm not gonna get into what I mean exactly, but if you've seen the film, I guarantee you know what I'm talking about. The panic on their face is absolutely hysterical. And this movie has more celebrity cameos, not just Jerry O'Connell. You also have Jenna Elfman, who plays this kind of stripper angel lady who shows up to kind of guide Ethan Embry's character through his whole situation. And I gotta tell you, I find her to be one of the lesser elements of this film. I mean, I think it's kind of interesting because she imparts some wisdom, and it's a decently written character for sure, but it seems kind of hammy, and it kind of takes away from the whole story. I think it would have been much more interesting if maybe he met somebody that was more in his age range, or maybe if he just didn't leave the party whatsoever, but kind of came to a realization through his own thought process. It would have been great. But I mean, I do enjoy one element, because when he's driving, you get to hear the song Mandy, and I mean, I just love that tune. And it's such a great tune. So over the top and overwrought and ridiculous, but still a lot of fun. And then you have the character played by Melissa Joan Hart, who's this teen that is just obsessed with getting all these signatures in her yearbook, and the way that the people react to her is very entertaining. But the way that she remains bubbly and just wants to stay on the positive side throughout most of the film, it's all very entertaining. I really thought her cameo was great. Overall, I really like this movie a lot. Jason Segel's in it as well, and he wasn't really a celebrity cameo at the time. He was just this guy who was in the movie, but I think he's entertaining because this guy who's been working on this alcoholic watermelon for over a year, whatever it is, and then it gets broken, it's heartbreak, and then as the film progresses, him just kind of eating the remnants, I think was very entertaining as well. And there's so many background characters, the whole band storyline. I mean, this movie is just filled to the nines with interesting figures and memorable characters and emotional moments. And I think it's just a really great movie. I think it's one of the best teen movies of all time, in my personal opinion, and just a movie that I think is a heck of a lot of fun. So those are my thoughts on Can't Hardly Wait. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. If you're a fan, if you hated it, if you've never seen it, if you don't like teen movies, whatever. Other than that, please hit like, hit share. That way other people will kind of find out that this video exists and hopefully come and check it out and let me know what they think. And speaking of which, if you're new here or you just haven't done it yet, please hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you can come check out my videos and be a part of this community of people that I love talking about movies with. Other than that, have yourself a good day.